North Korea's deployment of troops in Ukraine at Russia's request signals not strength, but a stark desperation in Russia's strategic position. The foreign minister, Chloe Son-hui's recent meeting with Sergey Lavrov underscores this quite clearly with her rhetoric of a sacred struggle to support Russia in the Ukraine. Yet, these North Korean troops face dire conditions. Recent reports of desertions illustrate that the purported solidarity that she proclaims, we will stand by our Russian comrades, may be brittle under the grim realities of warfare in Ukraine. And of course, the North Korean soldiers are trained in defence, not in attack. The North Korean troops, around 12,000 initially, with a potential increase coming later, bring discipline and specialised skills in combined arms manoeuvres. And this capacity, this capability, is a clear advantage compared to Russia's struggling and demoralised forces. However, issues of inadequate rations and significant language barriers may hinder operational effectiveness. And it's revealing that Moscow feels compelled to turn to North Korea. Russia's recruitment difficulties have led Putin to seek support in places as disparate and desperate as Mongolia and Chechnya and Prison, underscoring the depletion of Russia's forces because of the massive losses in the Donbass region and across Ukraine. This bomb fodder, this cannon fodder that Putin is throwing his Russian troops into. And the North Korean intervention is in many ways symptomatic of an international game of high stakes underscored by Russia's pressing need for fresh troops, fresh blood, and arms as it eyes one final offensive push before the 2024 US presidential election on Bonfire Night. Lavrov's assurances of North Korean firmness may serve more as a front for a fragile alliance than an actual reinforcement. Tim Willesee, a former British diplomat and a current academic, observes in the Times Radio interview that Russia's reliance on foreign support highlights its severe manpower shortages and equipment deficits, circumstances that would not exist were Moscow a stable military power in a stable military position. Additionally, this escalation brings with it the ominous spectre of thermobaric weapons or vacuum bombs, which can devastate entire areas, vaporizing human beings caught in the blast. These weapons, again, signal Putin's readiness to utilize all means in Ukraine, adding a grim layer to this intensified phase of the conflict. In the context of upcoming American elections, Putin likely anticipates that a Trump victory could halt or lessen US support for Ukraine, which, despite Biden's sustained but often measured assistance, is viewed as essential for Ukraine's resilience. The European Union remains hamstrung by its reliance on American leadership and may lack the resources for a swift, independent response should the US dial back its own involvement. Willesee further warns of a grim, semi-frozen conflict should negotiations stall, echoing the unresolved tensions seen in places like Nagorno-Karabakh and Cyprus. Ultimately, North Korea's involvement underscores how the global diplomatic landscape continues to shift unpredictably, with both immediate military and long-term geopolitical consequences, and the overwhelming threat that this local conflict could spiral out of control. The deployment of these soldiers serves as a blunt reminder that Russia's efforts have drained its own resources, that it's turning to another nation, turning this local war into something slightly more global. And its military strategy is increasingly dependent on controversial alliances and high-risk tactics to sustain its ambitions in Ukraine.